Hey everybody, it's Patrick. Well, it's been a couple weeks since I posted a video. I'm sorry about that. Man, it's just been a busy Christmas and New Year's for me. I've been working a lot and I was with the family and oh my, you guys know how it is. I hope you all had a great Christmas and a good New Year's and are having a good New Year's. I'm filming this on New Year's Day, so I hope you all are having a great day and had a great evening. Hope you all didn't drink too much. But I have a special review for you tonight. Now, this was given to me by a very good friend of mine. He knows I'm a big knife guy, and he had asked me a little while before Christmas what kind of knives I was into. I suspected at the time maybe it was because he was going to get me a present, and he did. And since it's my birthday pretty close by, it's also my birthday gift, which is just fine. This knife is amazing. So, let me introduce you to the Kershaw Dash. Of course, you already looked at the title, so you know what it's all about. Made in America, guys. Made in America. Kershaw Dash. Aren't many Kershaws made in America these days. More ZTs, not Kershaw. And if you didn't know, Kershaw is a subsidiary of Kai Industries, I believe. And then ZT is another subsidiary company. But ZT does all the really expensive knives. But they're basically just high-end Kershaws. Anyway, enough on that. So, let's get to the specs of this little guy right here. Or I should say, big guy. To me, this is what I consider the starting size for a large folding knife. So your blade length is, well, your overall length is going to be 8 inches. Your blade length is going to be 3.5 inches. Blade thickness is going to be ½ inch. Steel is Bohler N690, guys. Bohler N690. And when you hear the price, oh my gosh, is that a good steel. Talk about 5 out of 5 for the steel. Blade style is drop point. It's a flat grind, to be honest. It's got flats, though. Not much. I mean, it's got a little bit of flats. If you got an Edge Pro Apex, you might be able to use this flat here. However, it does bevel back down to the spine, which looks very nice, but you might have a little trouble with a consistent angle sharpener. Just, just in case you wanted to know. But you could also use a pull-through if you don't have a $500 sharpening system like me. I use the KME, however, though, not the Edge Pro Apex. Let's see here. Stonewash for the blade, and boy, I'll tell you what, guys. Kershaw does an attractive stonewash. It is my favorite blade finish from Kershaw, is their stonewash. I gotta be honest, I think it's, although I do like a high polish knife, I'm trying to get it in the camera there without lots of glare. I'll tell you what, I really do love a light stonewash. Black blades are fine, especially if the coating is a high quality coating, but stonewash just really does it for me, guys. I like the nice shine and texture of a stonewash. The handle is 4.5 inches in length. Handle thickness is 0.48 inches. This is a thin knife, guys. It really is a thin knife. Fits. I carried this now for let's see, over 2 weeks, and it is just so nice in the pocket. With a caveat, but I'll get to that later. Let's see here. Of course, this is the red. The handle is aluminum, and I believe it's 6061 aircraft grade aluminum. Either way, it's a very nice aluminum, and anodizing is just beautiful on it. It has the traction inserts, so like the, I forget the name off the top. I think it's the Blur. I want to say it's the Blur. I think the Blur also has this. It's kind of like, it's not sandpaper at all. It's a rubberized, like a pebbled, rubberized, almost what you'd find on the top of a skateboard, but not quite so aggressive. A little less aggressive than that, but still plenty aggressive. I'll tell you what, guys, when you have this knife in hand, it is not going anywhere in the forward or reverse hand grip. And oh my gosh, that finger guard. But I'm jumping ahead. Let's finish the specs here. Of course, it's what do you call it? Liner lock. Captured liner lock, though. So that's kind of nice. Let's see. The weight listed from Blade HQ, because I'm reading this off Blade HQ, is 4.2 ounces. We're going to confirm that, though, with the scale, which you see off there. It's ambidextrous. You can orient the clip either side, so this is a great lefty knife. If you're a left-handed person, you're going to love this blade. You can open it, utilize it just fine left-handed. The only thing is the lock. You are going to have to, still close it with your right hand, or just get good closing it with your left hand. But other than that, great left-hand option, because the clip is reversible. It is tip up only, though. So if you like tip-down knives, sorry, this isn't the knife for you. It's only tip down. Spring assisted, of course, it's got the speed safe mechanism, which makes it just a dream to open, guys. I mean, for an assisted opening knife, you just push on that flipper, it comes right open. I mean, in any orientation, I don't have to move my wrist even a little bit. It pops right open. And that's a big blade. 3.5-inch blade that means this is a strong spring, guys. That is really nice. Let's see here. Did I miss anything? Flipper. Nope, that's it. Okay, and the model number is 1688RD. RD for the red. It comes in green, orange, this red, and black. 4 colors. And then there is a 3-inch version called the Kershaw Hype. Same basic knife, just a 3-inch model, and there's not as much traction of this traction insert on it. It's red and black for the Kershaw Hype. I might get one of those at some point and do a separate review on that. It's going to be pretty much the same knife, though. Alright, so let me put this away. Hold on one second. I got to open up my notes here, guys. Okay, alright, so let's talk about this knife. Well, I have carried it for about 2 weeks now, and I'll tell you what, with me, because I'm a short guy, I'm only 5'5", the knife is very thin in pocket. However, I don't know, maybe it's just the jeans I bought, or my jean pockets are not, I've only worn this in jeans, not BDUs yet. With jeans, it goes pretty deep, actually, into the pocket, because this is a deep carry clip, guys. You're only going to have just, about, what is that, 4 or 5 millimeters of the knife sticking out. Let's see if I can zoom in on that for you. That's all you're going to have sticking out, which is fantastic. I love deep carry pocket clips. The thing about that is, though, is that it does sit deep in the pocket. So I have chunky keys, guys. I drive a Jeep, so my keys are really, really, really chunky. The key fob on it. So it actually, it almost touches it. It clears it by just a little bit, this little hump. So if you bend your leg to sit down, the knife might pop out a little bit. That might bother you. I thought it was worth mentioning. It's just a concern. You don't want to lose your knife. Doesn't take anything away from the knife. It's just, if you have different pants, it might not matter at all. Or BDUs, usually the pocket's a couple inches deeper, so it won't be an issue in BDUs. But I thought it was worth mentioning because I did notice it would poke out just a little bit. The clip would move off. You know, it would come out just a bit. However, I'll say, if you notice, Kershaw, thank you, Kershaw, you put the clip not on the traction coating, but on the smooth anodized aluminum, so it will not destroy your pants. Well, okay, I'll take that back just a little bit. There's the very edge where it goes right to the traction coating. That might grab your pants just a little bit, but it's still overall, it's not going to eat your pants up like a Benchmade triage will. A triage will destroy your pants, just rip it to pieces. This, not so much. This is a good knife for that. Now, I believe I've said before in my other knife review that's posted, the Buck Bantam, I'm not a fan of jimping usually. You'll never hear me get excited about jimping, or at least I don't think you will. It's not anything I want ever, really. I'd rather they not put it on than put it on. I know I'm in the minority in the knife community on that. I don't think it provides anything, except in special tasks in the woods. I mean, if you're really carving bowls or something, maybe then jimping is fine, but I generally do not like jimping, especially when we're talking about a self-defense use. God forbid, of course, but jimping is not your friend in that task, or even, honestly, in EDC, guys. I don't find it adds very much. However, all that being said, I guess forget it, because the jimping on this, I actually don't mind. I won't say I don't mind it. It doesn't bother me. It's not too sharp. It's good jimping. I can tell this is good quality jimping. It definitely grabs your thumb when you put pressure on it. However, it's not going to tear off skin. And thank goodness it's actually level. Actually, it angles down just ever so slightly, maybe 1 millimeter or even half a millimeter. It looks just ever so slight to angle just down to me, so that's good. It doesn't bother me. I do feel like it provides a little bit of extra control, but honestly I don't think it matters because the finger guard is so excellent. Just by putting hand pressure and the traction coating in the palm of your hand, you get a really good purchase on this knife. For any EDC task or even hard, heavy-duty cutting tasks, you have a really good purchase on this knife. But if you like jimping, it's here and it's excellent. That's the best jimping I think I've ever felt. So the jimping on this one doesn't bother me so much. Let's see, what else can I say? The handle scales. Okay, so the aluminum handle scales I love. And they, thankfully, I know, again, I don't care how heavy knives are, but they did not mill out the liners of this knife. I don't think I can show you guys, but trust me, they didn't mill the liners out inside. The steel, it does have steel liners inside, and they did not mill them. And I'm grateful for that, because I'm of the mindset that any milling reduces strength, and I never ever want to give up any strength on a folding knife. It's already a weaker design just because it's a folding knife. I don't want to give up any more strength. And honestly, I don't care about the weight. It doesn't bother me. The half ounce you'd save by milling them, or even if it was a whole ounce, guys, it's not worth it to me. If it is to you, I'm sorry, but wait until I tell you how much this knife costs right now on Blade HQ. This is a Blade HQ exclusive. Okay, so go buy it. Right, pause my video, go buy it right now. If you know this is something you're gonna like, go buy it, because who knows how long they'll have them or how long they'll be on sale for. All right, let's see. I'm gonna weigh it. Actually, I'll confirm the blade length first with the ruler. Have that guy pop open. So it's supposed to be a 3.5 inch blade. Is it a 3.5 inch blade? Actually, let's see. Well, it's hard to tell, because this is another one of those handles that angles, so it depends where you take the reading from. But if I was to take the reading right from the highest point of the handle, that would actually be a 3... it doesn't quite make it to the 3.5. It's like 3.4.9 or something like that. It doesn't quite make it there, but that's fine. This is still, to me, guys, anything on my rating scale anyway, 3.5 inches or close on 3.4.9 is close enough, is a big knife to me. But again, I'm a small guy. I'm 5'5", so to me, this is pretty much, I only have, I think, 2 larger knives than this. One is my ZT 0500. That's a 3.75. That thing is massive. That's a really big knife to me. To me, this is as big as I ever want to carry for a folding knife. This has a lot of capability. Let's see how much it weighs before I keep on blabbering. New whiteboard. So this is a more expensive whiteboard, and it's perfectly level. There's really no flex to it, guys. I'm not concerned, but I'll put it all the way over where the supports are, in case you are. Let's zero out the scale. There we go. Let's see what we got. So it says 4.2, and what do you know? 4.19. So yep, they're pretty much accurate. So nice light knife. And here's the box. All right, back to the knife. So let's get to uses before I talk about the one criticism I have about this knife. So this knife would be great, first of all, for EDC, if you like bigger knives, or knives that are over 4 ounces, if weight is important to you. I can't think of a task that this cannot do well, unless the task just requires a really small knife. There are just some tasks that it's nice to have a really small, precise blade. Even though, I'll tell you what, the tip is pretty precise on this. It does taper out, thankfully, because that makes it that's a strong tip. But it comes to a pretty sharp point. I really can't imagine. It is a broader blade, but I really can't imagine a task that it would not be good for off the top of my head. I will say, because it's a bigger knife, you can do some heavy-duty cutting with this guy, and because that it's safe to open because of the flipper and that finger guard. This is perfection for finger guards. You guys know how I feel from my first knife review about the finger guard, and I'll repeat it again. I hate folding knives that don't have decent finger guards. Very few exceptions to that. I love a good finger guard, because guys, this is what's protecting your hand from egressing onto the cutting portion of the blade and losing hand function permanently, or at least for a long time after surgery. Of course, it works in the reverse grip. This curve right here, when you put your hand on it, your thumb kind of naturally rests on one of these flats, and it's a really nice handhold. I'm sorry for the weird camera angle, but this is the only place I can have the camera, so gotta work with it. The liner is perfect. Thank you for not putting jimping. That would be uncomfortable. So thank you, Kershaw, for making that perfectly smooth. It is wonderful to access. I feel like this would also be a decent gloved knife if you wear tactical gloves. This would be a good knife for a police officer or a security guard. However, I will say the flipper is a little small. Let's see how... It's not a big flipper. Yeah, we're at... yeah, we're not even 1/4 of an inch on that flipper. I wish that flipper was a couple millimeters more. At least 1 or 2. But it does work. I mean, it works just fine. But with gloves, I could see you having a little issue with it. It's not jimped. Thank you. I hate jimping on the flipper. I know some guys like that. Not me. Let me try and zoom in if you... I'm sorry. I apologize. The camera's not liking that. Alright. Well, but anyway, the flipper, it works perfectly fine. Just make sure you get a really good purchase on it. So when you do it, make sure you positively flick it open. Let's see. The clip is a wonderful clip. I already said it didn't. It goes on the anodizing, not the traction coating. I think it's perfectly sized. I don't want it any smaller. I don't want it any bigger. This is... I love the clip. It's a no-nonsense, no frills, just straight blackened Kershaw clip. And I love that. Thank you, Kershaw. Good job. It's very attractive. The handle just... I love the white they put here. I mean... I went back and forth whether I thought that should be black or not. Actually, I kind of like the white. It matches the blade. So, Kershaw, Speed Safe, USA. Doesn't say the steel on the blade. I was kind of surprised. Bohler M690 is not on the actual blade. It just says the model number, patent with the Kai Industries mark, made in USA. So that was a little surprising. I have no doubt this is Bohler M690, though. Kershaw's a reputable company. Not worried about getting a fake knife. Alright. So what I'll say is, if this is a good knife if this is going to be your only knife. If you can only afford one nice knife, if you're a police officer and you don't want to carry a multi-tool or any other cutting tool or a security guard, you know, I carry a multi-tool at work usually, so I have a knife and a multi-tool. If you don't want to carry a multi-tool, this is a good option. Now, of course, you're going to be missing the screwdrivers, the pliers, all the other nice things a multi-tool provides, but cutting is the most common thing we do with the multi-tool, let's be honest now, unless you're using the pliers a lot. I do use the pliers actually quite a bit, just because they come in handy at my particular location for certain things, but this would be a good option. If this is going to be your only knife you have on your person, I'd feel just fine with a knife of this quality. It's got a good aluminum handle, steel liners, it's a strong knife. Everything about this knife says strength. I love it. I love the weight, the 4.2 ounces. It feels heavy, but not too heavy in the hand. I don't know if that makes sense, but 4 ounces isn't a lot when you think about it. But it's my phone is about 6 ounces, so this is you know, over half of what my phone is, and that's nice in the hand. I gotta say that's a nice weight when you get it in the hand. Now let's talk about the self-defense use. Again, God forbid. Hopefully this is never relevant to you, but say you're being attacked, have to deploy lethal force, save your life, or protect yourself from great bodily harm or another person. This would be a fantastic knife to do so with. First of all, it's assisted, which is fantastic. These are the best defensive knives in my opinion. Flippers with Speed Safe or some other assisted mechanism. The Speed Safe is the Kershaw brand, but it opens nice and quick. You can get the blade into action. The finger guard is great. It's going to protect your hand in a thrust or slash, or a parry for that matter. It'll catch another knife if you know what you're doing. You know, you may or may not have any blade fighting skill, but you could parry with this knife. N690 is a fantastic steel, just all the way around, leaving the self-defense use for a moment. N690, the great thing about N690 is that it's a very high-end steel that does not rust easily. N690, to my knowledge, was used in the medical field because when blood gets on medical instruments, it can, of course, can rust because there's water in blood. So that's where the Bohler N690 comes from, I believe. If I'm wrong, I apologize. I'm going to do a whole steel guide video later, series later in my channel's life. But to best of my knowledge, I know N690 is a very rust-resistant steel. It holds an edge very well. What it gives up for that, because there are three things we think about when we're talking about knife steel: toughness, hardness, and rust resistance. So N690 to me is a harder, more rust-resistant steel, but what it gives up for that is its toughness. What is toughness? That's wear resistance. So what could I put this knife through until I chip it out or break it? Hopefully not break it, hopefully just chip it. But it's not going to be nearly as tough as, say, 1095. You know, that's a very wear-resistant steel. But it's going to hold an edge much longer than like ACR 13 MOV or AUS 8. Of course, AUS 8 is a good level 3 steel on my or I'm sorry, like a 5 out of 10 steel. N690 to me, guys, is a super steel. I don't know about other people in the knife community, but to me, N690 is one of those 8 out of 10 steels. It's just another type of super steel. So you got S30V, S35VN, the CPM varieties of all these things. I don't know if CPM does an N690, but Bohler N690 to me is a super steel. It's good at its two things. It gives up some wear resistance, so you just got to pick what's most important to you. I'll tell you what, wear resistance won't really matter. This is a folding knife. Don't use it like a fixed blade. You know, don't go out in the woods and baton with it or do stupid things with it. And you won't chip it out or break it. It should hold up just fine. I have no reservations about recommending this as a hard use, duty, tactical, or just plain EDC knife. Alright, what else? Pivot point is adjustable if you ever need to. The centering looks just about perfect. It favors the right, when I'm facing the knife towards me, it favors the right side just ever so slightly. I mean, it is so slight, it's almost not even worth mentioning. And I believe that's just because the lock bar, the liner lock, is putting a little bit of pressure that way. Other than that, the centering's perfect on the knife. What else can we say? I think this knife would just be a fantastic all-around knife. Oh, I remembered what I was going to say. Okay, so the handle. Alright, this is this is really the only criticism I can levy against this knife, guys, because it came super sharp out of the box, and for the price, you just can't beat it. The handle. Now, this handle, I have no doubt, if you're a 6-foot tall guy, or even 5'10", maybe even 5'8", I'm sure this handle would give you no problems, but there is a hot spot to me. I don't know if you can see it, but the way the handle is, let me see if I flip the over knife over. This curvature right here, where this screw is, I don't know if you can see it. The curve doesn't look like a lot on the camera, but when you get it in your hand, if you happen to be 5'5" like I am, the knife, that curve digs right into here, this soft part under my thumb. It actually does cause a hot spot. And it is enough of a hot spot that it bothers me with extended use. Now, what do I mean by extended use? I mean, if you're just cutting something and putting it away, you're not going to notice it. Honestly, if you're using it for maybe 15, 20 seconds, you're still not going to notice it. Cut boxes for a couple minutes, you will notice it, and it will bother you. If you're 5'5" and you're fat like me, unfortunately I am still fat, it will bother you. Put it in your hand, especially if you're putting a lot of force down on it. Now, in a defensive encounter, it's not going to bother you. Adrenaline's going to be pumped through your vein. You're not going to be thinking about that. You're going to be thinking about the threat being posed to you or someone else, so it's not going to matter. I will say the hot spot problem is alleviated if you put your finger on the jimping. So if you hold the knife how you're supposed to, and, well, not how you're supposed to, but if you hold it and utilize the jimping, it kind of alleviates the hot spot problem because the hump of the handle doesn't put so much pressure anymore. But if you're like me, and I don't like to put my thumb there when I'm cutting boxes and I'm going quickly, I almost like to do this. I probably should put my thumb here, but I like to bear down on the knife, get a good grip. I think that's because I've almost cut myself on other knives. Not that that's going to be an issue with this one, but it does create a hot spot. And I will say, guys, surprisingly, even though I love this knife, this has the worst hotspot problem I've ever experienced on a knife, for me personally. Now, the hotspot, that's completely subjective, and I will say it's perfectly beveled. There's no sharpness on the handle. It's perfectly smooth and rounded. It's not sharp here. That's not the problem. It's just the hump does come up quite a bit. So that's something to be aware of if you're a shorter guy. I wouldn't let it stop you from buying the knife. Don't let that minor criticism stop you, because honestly, even if you are the exact same height as me and also are a little chunky like I am still, it's still a fantastic knife. Now, how much is this knife, you may ask? Well, Blade HQ right now, and today is January 1st, 2017. Hooray, right? It is still on sale for $64.99. MSRP is $134.99 on this knife. And I gotta be honest, for aluminum handles, assisted, with the traction inserts, and Bohler N690, I would expect to pay over $100 for this knife. Easy. For $64.99, an absolute steal. Go buy it right now. Go if you think you're gonna want the hype, buy the hype too. If I hadn't spent so much money during Christmas, guys, I would buy the hype immediately without even thinking about it. I'm sure the hotspot will be far less an issue on the hype as well, because the handle is not going to have as big a hump here for the curvature. But if you want this knife, I don't know how long this is going to stay around, because this is a Blade HQ exclusive. I would buy it immediately. Go pick your favorite color, pick 2 favorite colors, or if you're a collector, get all 4 if you can afford it. They're going to be worth some money later, I suspect, when they're no longer in production. I don't think this will be in production forever. I could be wrong, though. Maybe this sells so well, they keep it around. Maybe it gets released to other companies. I don't know how long Blade HQ was guaranteed. I'm not sure exactly how exclusives work. I don't know if it can go anywhere else or not. But yeah, if you want to buy this knife, I would. If you're watching my review and you think this design looks interesting, buy it. It's worth it, guys. It's worth every penny of the $65 plus the $10 shipping or whatever it's going to cost to ship it to wherever you live. They're out of Nevada, so for me to Illinois, I think my friend probably paid $10. It's been a while since I bought anything from Blade HQ. But yeah, and of course, if you're a security guard looking for your first knife, this is a fantastic option. If you're a police officer looking for another knife, or hey, you just got out of the academy looking for a good duty knife, there you go. Get the black one. I suppose you could get a different color, but for a duty knife, I'd get the black one. Get another color to carry off duty. Anyway, guys, let's see. I don't think I've forgotten anything, but I hope you all have a great year this year. And as always, guys, stay safe, be kind to your fellow man, and always be ready to fight evil, both physically and mentally. Have a great day.